Paul, welcome to Floor Talk. It's great to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me.
A pleasure. So I want to start off by talking about the company. Tell me about Physna.
Physna is short for physical DNA, and what we do is we analyze the physical world and turn it into code. And what that really means is that we open up the floodgates of all the potential of AI to what's physical, and we're able to do things that weren't possible in 3D before, right? We can take 3D designs and use them to automate things like we have autofill for 3D. We can improve supply chain decisions so that you're able to find the same part from a different vendor because it has a different part number, and save a lot of money that way, and make a lot of other intelligent decisions for your company or your Department of Defense in some cases, another group we work with, for things like inventory management, part acquisition, part maintenance, et cetera. And so we work in a various number of industries, but it's been great. Over the past year, our revenue has grown about 10x year over year, and a lot more to come this coming year. And it's been great we've got great supporters. We have Sequoia Capital behind us, Drive Capital, Google Ventures, and several others that have been fantastic to work with.
So now, when it comes to search, what do you have here that others can't do?
So the secret sauce that we have is this patent around 3D intelligence. And that really allows us to normalize that 3D data and essentially allow computers to do everything with the physical world that they were previously able to do or currently able to do with things like text, right? So being able to identify, in some cases, manipulations that have happened to 3D models that might have happened as a result of like a cyber attack, or things like, as I mentioned, autofill or procurement decisions. Is this the same part? Is there a deviation in the part? Can we use this as a suitable alternative? And getting really deep intelligence out of models that weren't possible before. It's kind of akin to if you were, let's say you were a healthcare company and you were trying to use AI to evaluate humans and how you can help them. Well, right now in the 3D world, think of it like analyzing pictures of people, versus what we do is actually understand all the geometry. So it's sort of akin to having DNA and being able to use that for AI versus just having images, essentially. It's a way for people to make money off of their creativity while at the same time protecting their intellectual property, because we have that geometric search. It's hard to get around that because even if you name the model something different, we know that the geometry is identical.
Now, you mentioned doing supply chain work with the Department of Defense. Do you expect Physna to have a larger impact with the incoming Department of Government Efficiency?
Absolutely. So we know that Elon Musk and others are really looking to AI to power that transition, to reduce government waste. And even today, what we found is that even in the narrow area of the government that we're working in at the moment, we're able to not only find parts through things like images by enhancing computer vision with that 3D intelligence, but also identify with 3D models they might have, scans for example. We're able to use that to find parts and alternative suppliers very, very quickly. So we can find parts that are available much faster, but at the same time we can also find parts that are way cheaper. So on average, we're finding that the parts that we're sourcing are a small fraction of what the government was previously paying. In many cases, it's actually less than 1% of the previous price is what we're finding parts for. And on top of that, we're finding that many of the parts that we're finding were previously purchased from overseas, and here we're finding them in the United States. So the government's able to get parts for way less money, way faster, and it actually brings manufacturing jobs back to the US in the process. So I think that we'll be able to hopefully play a big role in that, along with various other AI companies. Our role will be in the physical space.
All right, well, Paul, wonderful to talk with you.
Likewise.
Thanks for joining me on Floor Talk today.
Thanks for having me.